Welcome to Courtney on Health, heard on malcolmpresents.com and other venues such as Many Shades of Green. And Courtney, what is your website?
CourtneyGravenese.com.
CourtneyGravenese.com. Anyway, welcome aboard, guys.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Courtney. Hi,
Hello.
Malcolm.
As we're preparing for Christmas, we won't go into that. Take it away,
Okay.
Max.
We're getting into it right now. So welcome to Courtney on Health, a Zoomcast series about how to get through these COVID lingering times. I can't help but shake my head. I just want to be done. With tips on nutrition and exercise given by Courtney Gravenese, registered dietitian with a Master of Science degree in nutrition and applied physiology. Courtney is an experienced nutritional and health consultant in the New York metro area and beyond, obviously, because now it's worldwide. And we will help guide you she will help guide you, and we will help a little bit on a path to wellness and health. So here we are in the holiday season. I even have some holiday.
I like the bells, Maxine.
There's no snow, but we have sleigh bells.
You will have snow.
I'm gonna put this around my dog and see if she'll mush around on the grass. So I'm gonna do a poem that's pretty apropos to what we're doing today. It's called "'Twas the Night Before a Very Culinary Christmas," and it just said by Amy. I don't know who Amy is, but she wrote this to that "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and the verses are out of order, and I didn't use all of them because it was kind of long. So, "'Twas the night before Christmas in the kitchen below. The utensils were clean, ingredients ready to go. The counters were free from any clutter or tray, anything that might impede or get in the way. There was so much to cook, so much to bake. Where to start, what to make? The meal will be ready in good time, because Amy was already elbow deep in dough. The bowl started filling, the knife started cutting, the spatula flipping, the oven opening and shutting. The water was boiling. Meat was basting, the tummy was house, the mouth needed tasting. There was creaming and melting, slicing and dicing, frying and searing and curing and icing, blanching, dredging, grilling, caramelizing, glazing, marinating, reducing, and emulsifying. For hours it seemed nothing but food, mouthfuls of meal so tasty and good, the clinking of dishware, the sights of delight, the experience of the holiday in full swing tonight. The gifts had been given, the tummies were sated, a bajillion calories consumed, I calculated. And I heard from the family as they drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Anyway, thank you guys. It's the end of the show. We just did 30 minutes.
Exactly. I better talk fast.
That was not 30 minutes.
But by the way, Max, there's something wrong with your computer. Your voice is lower. I don't know why.
My voice is lower?
All right.
Did you, Courtney, do you hear her voice lower or no?
I'm hearing her okay. Yeah.
You're hearing okay. Okay, maybe it's my computer.
Maybe it's your ears. I don't know.
Maybe
anyway, let's get to this.
Oh, now you're back again. Okay.
I'm back. I just moved it a little closer for some reason. According to an online article on marthastewart.com, where else am I going to go? There's no denying that hosting a holiday party is generally associated with some level of stress. As the host, you may feel all sorts of pressure, financial, social, and beyond. While there's a lot that goes into hosting loved ones during this festive season, it is possible to host an easy holiday party, one that doesn't make you feel overwhelmed and out of control. You need to give yourself enough time to plan and prepare so you don't feel overworked on the day of your gathering. So how will you be spending holidays this year? What is the one essential element that makes you feel like it is Christmas? What is an unusual Christmas food you've eaten? Courtney will give us some great info on holiday entertaining that is stress-free and fun. So Courtney,
yes.
How do you start out having a hectic-free holiday entertaining Christmas?
Entertaining for the holidays. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Hold on. Ho.
So, it's there's no doubt, like you said, there's a little bit of stress is not always bad, right? Stress, actually, a little stress might actually keep you motivated, but I feel like whether you're a first time hosting or even your 50th time hosting, there's different tips and tricks you can follow to try and get you to a point where not only you are calm, cool host or hostess, but your guests feel comfortable as well. So don't underestimate how your frenziedness in the kitchen affects the people around you. So keep that in mind. So it might help with your pre-planning. And the pre-planning ends up being key. So if it's your first time again, or if you've done this before, anybody who's done this has entertained before, they know to get, usually well in advance, a menu going, if for no other reason, to figure out when you're going to buy what you need, when to get it in the house, to the best you can, get some things prepared ahead of time. So starting with that menu, keeping in mind that the people you've invited are your friends and your family, and you may need to make some adjustments based on their taste preferences and the way they eat, right? So you may have a way that you've been preparing meals for, a long time. But if you're having people in your home for the first time, or somebody's changed the way they've eaten or had to change the way they eat because of either the way they believe or what their doctor has told them, you should make some accommodations. I'm not saying you need to revamp the entire meal plan based on that, but remember, these are people you love and they're in your home. So you want to make it as open and as great of a variety as possible so that you keep everybody happy. So we'll talk about that in terms of getting that menu ready. So for example, if you've got somebody who is a vegan, I'm not saying you can't have any meat in the home, but if you have enough sides that are vegetable, grain-based, bean-based, you don't need to worry that your main entree might be a roast or pork or whatever. There would be enough food on the side in order for them to choose so that they're full. So having that variety will certainly help make your company feel good and you not feel like you need to make multiple entrees, which would be very, very stressful. Check your staples in your house. How many times have I heard from people, okay, you get that last minute phone call from someone. Do you have, I don't believe this, but I don't have any lemons. I don't have any garlic. How do you want? So these things that are normally in your home, you want to do a double check and make sure you've got enough to cover all of the recipes that you're making so that you're not running off to the grocery store last minute, no matter what holiday you're celebrating, because the stores are crowded this time of year. So you want to make sure you do as few trips as you possibly can. So get that menu going, get that list going, and shop from that list. Top of the list, always time. Creating a baking and cooking schedule. Now, people who've done this before, whether again, you've been doing this for 5 people or, historically, sometimes people have, big parties of 20 people. It's not just a list of, bake this day, have, such and such that day. I'm literally talking about starting from the time that you plan to eat, okay, on the day that you're eating, and let's just say Christmas for this one, and work backwards from there. It's a very detailed list and schedule, not a very loose one. And what this allows you to do is take the pressure off day of, day before, and like, oh my gosh, I don't want to forget anything. If you've got that detailed schedule ready, literally to the time that you're going to put something into the oven, when does something come out, and organizing it that way, it makes for a much calmer day before and day of.
Yeah, I have one word to make it to be calm for planning a dinner or whatever. Costco.
Yep.
Costco has everything that you ever wanted, and it's all cut up and put on a platter. And you can get the platter and put it out. You don't have to do any cooking whatsoever. Plus, they have some fantastic cakes.
Yeah.
It seems like homemade. You don't even have to tell your guests. You might feel guilty, but you don't have to tell them it's Costco.
No, well, you know what? You bring up this point. This leads into it. So you really need to, as part of your menu planning, decide, okay, well, it's almost impossible for you yourself to make absolutely everything on your own, unless you've got, a little bit of help along the way. You also need to assess what your kitchen and your oven looks like. Most people have a regular size oven. So if you're trying to cook multiple things and bake multiple things, you're right, Malcolm, using these places, and Costco's great for that kind of thing, where it's already ready to go. They've got beautiful cheese platters. So maybe you don't want to use their board that it's on. You can use a great trick of it's already been sliced, it's already ready to go. Move it from what you've bought, the platter it's on, and maybe move it to a platter that has, you've got, greenery that you've clipped from outside. Make it look a little bit different. Put some grapes on there, maybe a little bit of fruit. You can accessorize it, but some of the work has been done for you. Now you will pay a premium for that, but you have to assess where you are. Maxine, you mentioned it, budget, how many people am I trying to feed? And are you getting any help? And if you're not getting much help, then you really need to try some of these shortcuts along the way. You can absolutely, Malcolm, not say a word or just, not tell anybody, or, be totally, forthright about, where it came from and go from there.
Are there any Christmas kitchen hacks? We did hacks last week, and I know getting the kiddos involved, getting help is kind of a hack in a way, but is there any shortcuts in any of this? Because like a traditional dish what are they? And are there any hacks for those?
The only thing I would suggest is, it really depends on what you're cooking. Everybody has a different menu, right? If you put, 10 different people in the room who celebrate either Hanukkah or Christmas, I know there's some traditional meals, but even for Christmas, there's a wide variety. Not everybody does the 7 fishes on Christmas Eve. Some cultures do something different. Who's doing a ham? Who's doing a goose? So it really is very varied. The only suggestion I would strongly have you consider is what can I make ahead and possibly freeze ahead of time to help do your meal planning. So if it might be something like a stuffing dish that can be frozen, or a casserole, stratas, which are like egg-based dishes with maybe some vegetables and things like that in it. Those can all be made ahead of time, tucked away in your freezer, brought out. By the way, put that on your schedule. How many times have I made this and people forget that they put something in the freezer and they've had to pull it out, they completely forget. The benefit of the schedule again. So you want to make sure you've got this going. Take advantage of that time. Take advantage of those things that you can make ahead of time. I have, and I just have this handy now, like cookie dough. For those of you around this time of year, cookies are very popular for a lot of different people. You can't make cookies that far in advance. They will, listen, the beauty of fresh baked goods is how they taste. And if they've been baked too far in advance, they're going to get stale. They pick up the flavors of the other cookies. So it really ends up being a rather last minute, not day of.
And if in my house, if my wife bakes too far in advance, the problem is it's eaten.
You eat it all up.
Most cookie doughs can be made ahead of time. Flatten it into a disc, and there's a reason for that, because most cookies then end up getting rolled out. And if you've got a ball versus a disc, it's going to take longer to defrost, and it's not as easy to roll out. So there's a hack for cookies. Many cookie recipes can be done ahead. Flatten it into a disc like this, throw it in your freezer, pull it out 2 days beforehand, and you can easily bake, cookies 2 days before. And people have different rules about this, but personally, I know that if you bake them too far in advance, you eat them, Malcolm. Yes, you're right. And they're not as fresh.
Yeah, but what my wife does is when she does cake or cookies, is she'll put it in a big bowl, and she'll do it that day. Then the rest of the mixer she puts in the refrigerator, and 2 days later she can then bake it.
Absolutely. So even the fabulous Ina Garten, who in my mind is like the goddess of hospitality and entertaining, believes in the rule of you're going to make some from scratch and you're going to assemble the rest. So to your point, Malcolm, but buying cut up cheese already, maybe buying from a bakery beautiful pastry items that all you need to do is take it out of the box and put it on. Lots of people have platters around and things like that. This happens to be a little Christmas one, but whatever you have, assemble it. That way it takes the pressure off of you. You don't have to bake and cook every single thing. Do what you can and leave the rest. One of my favorite ones, speaking of Costco, Malcolm, it just tastes wonderful. I happen to love the Ghirardelli triple chocolate brownie mix.
Ooh.
If you've never had it before, it makes you wonder why you make brownies from scratch ever. They're that good. And then one time a year, my favorite TJ's, my Trader Joe's, they are mint. They call them the JoJo's, they're candy cane JoJo's. So you make the brownie recipe according to the box. You crush up about 5 or 6 of these mint. They've got candy cane in them with chocolate. You crush that up, you throw it in there, you bake them up, super easy. You put them on a pretty platter with a few candy canes as a decoration. You look like a rock star, and it literally is one of the easiest things.
And Trader Joe and Costco have good products.
Great.
I mean, and they're reasonable.
Very reasonable. So it's great. And then Costco and Trader Joe's, they have great things like appetizers. Do you need to make every single appetizer? Or maybe there's a favorite traditional recipe you want to make, but maybe you can, they have wonderful spanakopita triangles that are, you just pop them in the oven and reheat. Little tricks like that, just to spare you a little bit of time so you're with your guests more often than you are running around the kitchen. Remember, you want to make people feel comfortable. And if you are gone 90% of the time, that might make people feel a little uncomfortable. Now, the reality is, and I've been cooking, I've been doing a lot of, entertaining over the years come holiday time. There's realistically, you're going to spend some time in the kitchen. There's no way around that. So unless everything is completely catered, you're going to be in here doing some stuff, and that's to be expected. The whole idea, though, is not to just disappear.
Yeah, but I think an important thing is, we got a little bit into that last week or the week before, is attitude while cooking. Let's say I think you enjoy when you're cooking, so it's not really a burden to you. It's you enjoy when you're in the kitchen and preparing it, and you enjoy the reaction of people eating it.
I do.
So you look at it and say, "Oh my God, they're enjoying it," and to you, you love that. Certain people,
it makes me happy.
I know.
Thank you for bringing that up, Malcolm, because I think it's important for hosts and hostesses to assess their risk level of entertaining. Because I don't know, maybe you guys have been there. I know I have been. You walk into a home and it's like an operating, right? You feel uncomfortable. You don't want to make a mess. There's no crumbs. If you're going to entertain and you want to open up your home, there's going to be a level of mess. Somebody's going to drop something. So you have to be open to that. And if you're really not open to that, then maybe you offer to bring something to somebody else's home. Maybe you shouldn't, be entertaining. So really,
just don't do it.
Just don't do it. I hate to say it that way. But you want to be, comfortable. I'm not saying don't try it, certainly get in there, but ask for as much help. But you really don't want to, feel like in somebody's home that you're not welcome.
Right.
Or you're in imposition. Nobody.
I know it'll help. I have a question. I have a question. Hold on, Malcolm.
Okay.
I have a question. This is important because it is the holiday, and something that I remember, we would have, one of our neighbors used to have this amazing cookie party. And, in terms of beverages, like who would take whatever, but she had one giant thing of eggnog. That was like, wow. It had, it was, and then she had like the virgin eggnog, and we would have to make sure the kiddies didn't take the wrong one. Yeah. And so what's your tip on the eggnog that's spike versus the eggnog that's kitty okay?
Well, heck, the kids can drink water, man. I'd say fire up the eggnog.
Fire up the eggnog, baby.
Let them drink water.
Yeah, let them drink water, man. We had like two of those at her house. You and 100 varieties of cookies. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Did you ever get a cookie party before this?
I've heard about this cookie party.
They're legendary.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I had heard, and I'm sorry that I missed it. But
yeah, it was quite something.
It seems like a simple fix, but it really frees you up, or the host, the hostess, from having to serve people drinks all the time. Like, people think about it. People come into your home, like, well, what can I get you to drink? Which is fine the first time off, that one off. But you want to free yourself up. You might be in the kitchen doing other stuff. So you don't need to be jumping up and down offering drinks. Well, Some people have incredible bars set up in their home, and that's wonderful, and it's like a go-to place. For those of us who don't have that set up, you create a bar space. And it's simple enough. If you don't have a container like this, you can use a stainless steel bowl. You can use a ceramic bowl, but do keep in mind that bottles are heavy, and if you snack it the wrong way, it may break it. So anything that's, a plastic tub, a lucite tub, a stainless steel bowl, put some water in there, some ice in there. Make sure you always have lots of non-alcoholic beverages as well, water, seltzers, things like that. But make it away from the kitchen area so people aren't underfoot near you. So someplace else, doesn't have to be very big. Make sure you've included a wine opener. I know that sounds crazy, or a bottle opener, because then people aren't coming into you and be like, can I have everything is set up. Once you've served them their first drink, it's self-serve. They feel better and more comfortable because they don't feel like they're in, it's an imposition to you. And it keeps it out of the kitchen. So it's a simple, easy step. Doesn't require a lot of space, but it saves you a little bit of time in the long run. I'm queen of, in terms of like in terms of the planning part. What's your table going to look like? Some people are fine using very, very casual wear. Some people feel like it's a special time of year for, holidays. They want to use the best of what they have. And this is, of course, absolutely fine. People can bring out your best china if you want to, but be mindful of the fact that you're going to be loading and unloading that dishwasher, several times. So make sure it's empty before your first guest arrives. Don't let your first plate come in and you're unloading your dishwasher, okay? Simple tip. Judge your glassware. Maybe you have a few people over and maybe you don't mind hand washing, but fancy glassware that can't go in your dishwasher, you need to make sure you're comfortable hand washing it, and that's fine. You don't feel like
speaking about that, is it permissible to use plastic plates or paper cups?
Not environmentally friendly, folks, unless you get ones that are compostable.
I think it depends on who yes, I'm with Maxine on that. When it comes barbecue time, I'm probably using more paper than I, probably feel comfortable with. They do have the compostable plastic, but it can really, add up. And my one suggestion would be, take a look at your inventory in your house of glasses that can actually go in your dishwasher, right? You might have to run it a couple of times. If you break one here or there, it's not a big deal. Run them in there. Lots of people have generations worth of glasses that have been passed down to them. It's a great use of it. I think the sort of eclectic table is a great way to entertain. Not everything has to be perfect, right? Have mix and match, have it look a little fun. That way everything goes in the dishwasher. I do happen to like my crystal that I use, and it has to be hand washed, but everything else can go in the dishwasher. So judge it that way. Again, see how much help you have, because you don't want to, be feeling like, oh my gosh, not only am I in the kitchen for 5 days, but it takes me 5 days to clean up all the time. I love using, and I use these outside during the summertime even. And if you're, like I said, you always want to make sure you have water on the table. People can stay well hydrated. These are just old wine bottles. This happens to be a pretty one. I think it was a rosé. There's a rosé at the bottom of it. I keep them. I actually have many of them. That way I've got water bottles all over the place. You don't have to go buy anything. It's a great reuse of something that you've already had. So, using things like that look fun and pretty, you haven't spent any money, and it's very useful, I think is a great way to, reuse, what you've got.
Right.
What about food safety? During this time?
Yeah, so let's definitely talk about that. So first of all, let's talk about if you've got littles in your home. And if this is your first time entertaining, and you're gonna have littles in your house, you might not be familiar. So remember, if a kid can get to it, they will. Their ability to triangulate on the smallest chokeable thing in your home is amazing. So you want to make sure anything that's either a choking hazard or a food that they're not supposed to get to is elevated up. So that's the first thing. And that's just from a food safety choking hazard issue. If you've got small little pieces around your home, same thing for gifts and things, make sure they've been cleared out of the way. Watch your plants. Remember, poinsettias are poisonous, not only to our pets, but they're also to people as well. Children will get rashes around their mouths. They're at eye level to them sometimes, so best to keep them out of the way from both pets and from kiddos. Check your food, okay? Make sure that things are being heated to the proper temperature. And I know this seems like a simple gadget. If you don't have a thermometer, an instant read meat thermometer, they're super inexpensive. They're really almost an indispensable kitchen item for you to have. You want to make sure meats are cooked, not just meats, because vegetarian-based foods like casseroles and things like that are not heated to a proper temperature, if you remember when we did our food safety, can also cause foodborne illness as well. So you want hot foods to stay hot. You want cold foods to stay cold, and that cold should be under 40 degrees. And you want hot foods to stay above 140 degrees. If you're reheating, on 165 is the temperature you're looking for. So that reheat temperature. So that's why this is super important, because most of us don't have the ability to figure out the temperature. This is your guide to make sure that the food you're serving stays safe for people to eat. So that's not just the day of, but we typically have some leftovers. So you want to make sure you've got those leftovers reheated to a proper temperature as well.
As a question of etiquette, if you're a guest at a party and the party is a good friend of yours, made by a good friend of yours, should you offer to help clean up? Or should the hostess ask someone to help clean up, or is this faux pas?
Well, I don't have a problem asking my own kids to get on in here and help.
Or your sisters, or close friends.
I'm personally uncomfortable as a host. I would love to do look up Emily Post. I think if you're having people in your home, unless it's your sister or brother or I don't think it's appropriate to ask for help. Many people will help for cleanup and things like that. When I say
Cleanup, that's what I meant.
Delegate and helping bring a dish or something, that's different. I think most people will offer. I know I always offer.
As a guest, you would, okay.
As a guest, I do, and if I get a very firm, please go sit down, I've got this, that's fine. But I think to ask, can everybody come on in here and help? I don't know. I need Emily Post here, but I'm thinking that might be considered a bit of a faux pas.
So just make sure that you look at them when you want to clean up and they go, this is where I could use your help. So, okay.
Well, I think also it depends who the guests are, whether they're business associates or someone that you're not familiar with, or as you say, family. Family usually chips in.
Yeah, I've asked my niece, they're great. I'll ask my nieces, do you mind running down and get this for me and they're wonderful too. They'll come in. I think that's different. It's sort of a case by case, but and I think that's what keeps some of the day a little bit sane. And also, you don't want a bunch of people, not everybody has a massive kitchen, right? Most people have reasonable kitchens, and how many people size kitchen, how many people can you put in here, right? So, in many ways, it makes it a little bit more efficient. You can be more nimble if you're kind of in there with maybe just one other person who's actually, helping you along. But it does make it a little bit more manageable. And just again, pre-planning, don't be intimidated if this is your first time hosting. Ask for a little bit of help. If people want to offer to bring something, that's fantastic. And then, get that menu ready. And I'm telling you, the key is that schedule, a very specific schedule, not only what time things go in the oven, but when to make certain things, when to pull stuff out of the freezer, and get yourself organized. It saves a lot of stress day before and day of.
Right.
What about music?
Oh, yeah.
Nice playlist, or you can have some Christmas music plus some music you can keep a little lower so that people can still talk, but you got to get a vibe going, right?
Oh my gosh.
Max, bring your guitar.
What's that?
My guitar is not even in tune.
Max has to bring her guitar.
Yeah, no, you're
Yeah,
right, Maxine. I think a
yeah,
little
I
bit of
haven't-
music.
I
Yeah.
haven't played in it a little bit. Just I'm trying to get back into that, but I will. I will.
Yeah.
I find when I have parties or in most people's parties, no matter how big the living room is or the den is,
They go
or
to the
how
kitchen.
small the kitchen is, everybody winds up in the kitchen.
Yes.
That's what she
Because I
said.
know my
yeah,
wife
that's
always has to say, get out of the kitchen, get out of the kitchen.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot. So I mean, and you can say that polite, so, all the food, listen, all
Right.
the food, I've got food already set up, there's appetizers on the coffee table, go help yourself to the drink bar. Let people feel like they could, it's like, listen, help yourselves, make yourselves at home. People need that clue, especially if they've never been in your home before, right? So, like my sister knows when she gets here, it's, she knows where everything is, just go, but sometimes people, are new to your home, so you want to make sure that that's something they feel comfortable with. And music, you're right, not only the type of music, Maxine, but the volume, because you want to make sure, conversation is so much the part of these gatherings that you want to make sure you're not screaming above that. And a nice rotation. I'll never forget a Thanksgiving many years ago, and on a loop, my mother-in-law had the Celine Dion Christmas. And it was, we were there for hours. This is like over a decade ago. And I remember my husband's uncle saying, like, if I hear that Christmas song one more time,
I'm gonna get. Yeah, that's true. You gotta kind of know your
hear it again.
Your
group.
audience.
You can't keep playing. Yeah,
We get to, you listen to radio right after Thanksgiving and sometimes a week before Thanksgiving. They're all playing Christmas music. By the
Yes.
time Christmas is over, or you've had it for the year.
So
Yeah.
a good mix of music, but keep in mind, again, these are your friends and your family. You want your home to feel warm and comfortable. It doesn't have to be crazy extravagant. You don't need to showcase everything. You guys have been in a home where you've been there and like you feel like it's like, oh my gosh, like the host and the hostess really get it, like it flows naturally. And then sometimes maybe not so often, but you want that comfortable feeling. And that's what really the holidays are, is to celebrate, to be with people, to share stories, to enjoy good food, maybe some good wine in there.
What do you mean? What do you mean maybe?
Maybe.
Some
absolutely.
good wine in there. Eggnog,
Gotta have wine.
vodka, tequila.
I'm gonna go with the eggnog. What can I say?
Anyway,
that
guys,
nice spiked eggnog.
our time is up.
Time is up.
Our time is up. But I just want to mention one thing. If you are a broadcaster out there, if you have a radio show or a TV show, mention us on the show. It's Courtney for Health on MalcolmPresents.com. Let's see if we could, gather this through the social media and through advertising. Tell them that you heard the show and it's great.
Courtney on Health.
Courtney on Health, MalcolmPresents.com. Let's see by New Year's whether we can get our first 1 million listeners.
50 million hits.
That's it.
You never
There you
can
go,
tell.
baby. Yeah,
You
well,
never can tell.
Anyway,
Anyway,
leave them to the eggnog and then we'll see what happens. So I'm going to close out. I'm going to say thank you for joining us for Courtney on Health. To get more info, follow Courtney on her Facebook page, which is Courtney on Health, on Instagram at CLG Wellness, and visit her website, CourtneyGravities.com. For more shows, go to MalcolmPresents.com and theManyShadesOfGreen.com. Wishing you from us a very, very merry, and a very happy, healthy new year with all good things. And you got to be safe and stay well.
Definitely good health, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all.
Right.
Well, we're doing a show next week, aren't we, for the new year?
I
We
think
don't know.
so. Maybe we can
Okay.
talk.
I'm here.
You're here. So here we are, Courtney on Health.
We'll talk
Smart
about Christmas
Sound
survival.
Nutrition, strong, safe fitness. Again, happy
Happy
holidays.
everyone.
And we'll catch you
In
next
England, how
time.
come they say Happy Christmas instead of Merry Christmas?
I don't know. It's a thing out there.
They don't want the redundant Happy New Year.
Right. Maybe that's
I have
probably
no
the
idea.
reason. But Happy Christmas is a thing. See, I even have
Happy.
my bells are taking you out.
Your bells are taking us. Okay, we'll go out with Max's bells. Bye. Have a great
Bye.
week.
Happy
Merry
Christmas.